Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Uncharted Brutal Difficulty walkthrough. This is Chapter 9, To the Tower, and we are back on the goddamn jet ski. Why? Oh, it outstays its welcome, does this damn machine. But, it must be said, guys, I think it controls way better than it possibly could have, and it's difficult to be too much of a grumpy old man, even though I want to be a grumpy old man and say take it out of the game, it doesn't deserve to be in it, it's stupid. Because it's stupid, it really is. But I appreciate it too. It's a wonderful piece of hypocrisy happening in my brain. Because I've played first-person shooters and, can you imagine second-person shooters? How would that even work? I've played first-person, third-person, I've played all the person shooters. And I really do appreciate when they put something in there that's a little different to what you've been doing to spice it up, because the moment you notice that you're doing the same thing in a video game is the moment where the pacing of your game has failed, because you should never know that you're doing the same thing. You should always be like, oh nice, another opportunity to do the thing. That's design. That's what makes games fun and addictive. That's the reason why Korean people can let the children starve while they play stupid MMOs in cafes, because they don't realise that your dog life is more important, you psycho bitch. And third-person shooters are notorious for having, you know, insert random shooting section, insert random driving section, insert random talking section. And there's a real skill to fusing these elements well and keeping them fun. And even the greatest of games can still mess up on these ideals. And that's one of the reasons why I really like it when something fun comes along. And it feels fun. Like, I remember people criticising the turret section in Transformers Devastation. Did you ever play that game, kind listener? If you never did, it's an action game, so it's a little bit off topic. But it had a sequence where you got on a turret, and it was like a third-person shooting turret section. And how many turret sections have you done in games? 50? 100? Thousands? There's been tons. We've all done them, and a lot of the times, it's just kind of like, oh, I'll just do this until the next dude turns up and I'll shoot him. And they can be boring. In Transformers Devastation, the turret section was really fun, and it was fun because it was like Gallagher. You could shoot enemies in a certain pattern to completely destroy waves, and you could keep your aim at certain points to kill them as they came in, and you could spawn kill them, and if you learnt the places where to shoot, you could deal with it all, and it was beautiful, and it felt really good. And I really liked it because it only happened like twice. It was always super fun. And then you have other games that have turret sections that are so miserable, you wonder why they made it in the game. Dead Space. Like, what the fuck? Does anybody like the turret sections in Dead Space, or getting that horrible achievement that's a reference to Star Wars? Because I know I didn't. It was miserable. It was a really bad section, and on Impossible, it was actually difficult too. So it's just, I can't stand when they put these arbitrary turret sections in. Like, does anybody remember, was it Killzone 3? At the end of that game, you were in like a space satellite and you had to shoot with it, and it was really hard. Or you were in like a space battle, and I'll always remember it. I might not remember the details, but I'll remember how much I hated doing it. Like, really weird moments. This is scary, by the way, because I did not know where the people were, and I decide to just kind of fuck this off by going through the door, and it works, and you do get a checkpoint, so fortune favours the bold in this instance. But I like it when you can get to a game that introduces those offshoot elements and they work. Because, wow, look at that getting shot in a goddamn vignette. That's not fun. If I died there, I would have been very sad. But this is the difficult fight I mentioned in the last video. It's the section when you cross the water coming up. So this first moment is not so bad. It's just a couple of dudes and I've got a magnum, so I'm going to instantly kill them like Robocop. And then once it's done, I'm going to swap out some weapons. And the mistake I make here, guys, is I don't carry enough ammo across to the next sequence, and the next sequence is rather intensive. So I'm going to shoot a couple of people across the way just because I can, and then I'm going to swap out my gear. I'm going to get a few grenades. I'm going to rock a pistol because it's fantastic, even though it does look kind of like a super effeminate pistol that a lady would put in her purse. It's really good. The pistol feels powerful in this game, and it feels like headshots just come naturally with it, which is really good. I love the design of the pistols in this game. But do you notice how there's all these guns on the floor? These AKs? You might want to pick up an AK just for the fact that you'll get more of it. The shotgun, I adore it, but I just didn't have enough ammo to do what needs to be done on the other side of this, what would you call this? A gully? A trench? I don't know what this is. Like a little... It's not a canal, surely. I don't know what this would be called. an area of water that is short and in some kind of alley/structure. But I begin this sequence by chucking a grenade. He rolls forward, pushing forward. There's some really fun animations that the enemies do in this game that they didn't add in the next games. You'll notice they can come out of cover and lay on their bellies, and I love that. It's ridiculous and silly, but it's the type of thing I like to see. I like creativity in games. And I don't know if I've mentioned this in a video, so I should do it now before I forget it, but Neo's beta had one of the best things I've seen in a while, because it legitimately made me smile, and I thought it was fascinating in the best possible way. I went up to a chest just before the boss of that first level, where you get the key that leads out into that massive clusterfuck area. And when I touched the chest, something weird happened. It was this weird animation of like, and all kinds of particles, and something jumped out of the chest. I'm like, shit! I fell for that hook, line, and sinker. And the creature was, of course, a mimic, but I didn't realise the game had got them. But it didn't just, eat me or turn into a chest monster like a lot of mimics did. It turned into me. It literally mimicked my character's build. He wore my armour, he looked like my dude, and then he fought me with my weapons. It was wonderful. It was so stupid and great, and it was great. It was really, really good. So, Team Ninja, I'll criticise you to death for what you did after Ninja Gaiden 2, but that was genius, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I needed to share that with people, because if you didn't see that thing, it was too good. But this is the fight that's hard, fellas, if you're wondering. And I'm calling you fellas, which I really don't like. But I've been watching a Dan Gavster video where he calls everybody fella, and I've picked it up subconsciously, and I don't want it. I want to say folks because I like that term. I do not want to say fellas, even though it reminds me of Jimmy from South Park. But this is the hard bit for me. So there's a dude with a grenade launcher who spams the tits off it, and if you don't have the bullets, look at this, dude. I can see your leg. Let me shoot it, damn it. Stop cheating. But you push forward, it triggers a spawn of shotgunners. I'm going to throw a grenade to get rid of him. There is 2 of them as well, so you want to be careful because they can be very dangerous. But I just had problems with ammo here. It wasn't that the level design is poor. It wasn't that the enemies were too much. It was just a case of I didn't make my shots count, and I suffered because of it. And like I'm getting bummed here by collisions, so my shotgun's not firing correctly. I'm wasting all kinds of ammunition, which is another reason why I suffered here for longer than I should. And there's the grenade guy who's going to make life a misery. So the thing to note about this particular environment is, with him spamming grenades, all you need is the slightest bit of damage on your character and he will finish you off. Because the splash on that weapon he has is random. Sometimes it does massive damage, sometimes it does no damage, and you'll notice I don't have any bullets. So this is when things get really interesting. But the AK is a piece of shit, but it will one-shot kill people in the face. The problem is, because of the way it shoots, it's very difficult to make one shot hit the face, because it hits everywhere else. I want to know who designed it, and I want to know who designed the pistol, and I want to know how you can make one thing majestic and make something else a complete turd burger. Like, it's the worst. It doesn't work. It's so underwhelming. And it's an assault rifle, for God's sake. It's one of the most popular ones on the planet. It's led dissidents, It's led rebellions, coups d'etats. It's overthrown sovereignties. It's done great things and terrible things in equal measures. And in this game, it's worthless. But it must be said, I would rather have it than nothing. And I know that's not the greatest of compliments, but it's the best thing I can say about a weapon that's just a piece of shit. Like, the micro Uzi should not be working at this range, but it works better than the AK. Tell me why. I don't get it. And I'm not asking for realism in video games. I think realism is a conceit we need to do without. A lot of the more fun aspects of video games are the lack of realism, so... And don't get me wrong, I'm very guilty of being that's not very realistic, or, how does that work moments when I play games. But it's just because something happens that doesn't make sense and I wish it did. Like, to me, I would prefer a game to have its own unique realism. Rules of a game. That's what I like. I like the code of conduct that works every time. That's my kind of video game goofiness that I enjoy. For instance, the cover trick. The cover trick is a mechanic that a lot of devs are weaning out, and I'm hoping it's going to breed a new like a rejuvenation of third-person shooters, because as much as I like doing this, it'd be great to see the evolution of a game where this is not possible and the combat is still really, really fun. And anybody who saw my Uncharted 4 walkthrough knows that they removed the cover trick, and I felt the combat in that game was really dull. I didn't enjoy it at all. I'm the only person on the planet who has that opinion, but I just don't find Uncharted 4 very fun when you fight. Look at that! That's how good this gun can be, but oftentimes it's not. And it's weird, guys, because I don't want to feel that way about Uncharted 4, I just do. Like, if you give me Uncharted 1, 2, 3, 4, I will play the first three again readily. Uncharted 4, I just wouldn't. And it's not because it's a bad game. It's a great game. I just don't find it very fun. It's one of those things. It's like Ninja Gaiden 3 to me, or Ninja Gaiden Razor's Edge. A lot of people love those games. I just think that they feel like shit compared to the old games. And that's kind of how I feel about the combat in the fourth game. Even though everything's been refined. Everything about it, animations, aiming, the feel of everything, all of it has been made better, but when it gets down to the way the enemies behave and the way the environments are designed when enemies are apparent, just isn't fun to me. And it sucks, you know, because it's a new game and I wanna play new games. Oh, that was scary. But there's something about these games. I think it's the goofiness. I think it literally is. It's the imperfections that make this game so fun for me. Like, and I've been critical of Uncharted 1 because when I played the demo, I thought it was shit. I thought it was just bad aiming, really goofy, awkward feeling animations, just didn't feel fun. But it's interesting how your opinion can be biased by what you're playing at the time, especially if you're a big fan of it. Like, how many people have you seen who love Ninja Gaiden and hate Devil May Cry? Because on Ninja Gaiden things die fast, on Devil May Cry things don't die fast at all. And it's just the difference of those games. And a lot of the times you'll find people who like both because they've come to appreciate them on different levels, but you will find people who love God of War but hate, you know, insert another game, hate something like Bayonetta, you know, because it's just very different ways of playing. And it's interesting. I find that kind of stuff fascinating. Like with Vanquish. God, I want to play Vanquish. I'm craving Vanquish so much. I was hoping that they were going to release the PC port, because there was all those whispers, and I was hoping it was just going to get released. It wasn't going to be delayed or announced or any of that bullshit. It was just going to be like, there you go, guys, you want it for ages, there it is. 60 frames per second Vanquish, enjoy it. And I would be playing it now, instead of commentating this. But it's not going to come out until next year, and I can't make the walkthrough that I want to make. And I'm hoping that now that YouTube has gone through several iterations of the way that the bots work, that it's not going to get flagged. Because I had a lot of just bullshit with my first Vanquish project that nobody ever got to see, and it sucks, because I can't stand machines that can deny you without giving you a valid reason. And that's all YouTube is, guys. It's just a bunch of machines being assholes, and it's really sad. Getting to the top of this, by the way, there's a dude who shoots me, and I have no idea where he is. See that? This dude had me dead to rights, and then for some reason, he goes from being a genius to being a complete moron. He's behind the other piece of cover, just across from me. But I don't know that at this point. I'm like, where did that come from? And then I see him, and he sticks his head out of cover like he's playing Kane and Lynch, and he's dead. Poor guy. He could have killed me then. He was the superior player, but he let it go. He just let it go. And I believe that we're coming up on the end of the mission, because the next one is the common house, isn't it? So pick up the ammunition, pick up the weapons, and then the next level is a very big encounter that's not too difficult, as long as you've got a good idea of how it works. But thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.